In 3, 2, 1, go ahead.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners meeting for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021, 2:02 p.m. My name is Ty Mentor, Chair of the Board. We have Vice Chair Commissioner Gary Edwards and Commissioner Carolina Mejia, as well as County Manager Amira Chavez and Assistant County Manager Robin Campbell. The public may follow along. We have folks in the boardroom, but there's also ability to watch on our YouTube channel, Thurston County, live stream through YouTube, as well as conference call option at 360-252-9020. PIN is 1234. Today we have a meeting at 2 o'clock, 3 public hearings at 3 o'clock, and a Transportation Benefit District meeting at 4 o'clock. We're going to begin this session with Pledge of Allegiance to be led by Vice Chair Edwards.
If you'd please join me, we've got a Navy veteran, Mr. Utic, in the audience. And as you know, if we didn't have veterans, we wouldn't be here to be free. And I'm asking Mr. Utic to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, please, sir.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America
and
to the republic for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for that. We would also like to start today with a land acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the indigenous people who have lived on and cared for the land and waterways of this county since time immemorial, and who still inhabit the area today, specifically the Squaxin Island, Nisqually, and Chehalis people, our sovereign tribal partners. With that, is there a motion regarding the agenda for today?
Yes, I would move to approve the agenda for Tuesday, March 16th, 2021.
I second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Agenda is approved. Is there a motion regarding the board meeting minutes from March 9th?
Yes, I would move to approve the board meeting minutes from March 9th, 2021.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. That motion carries and the board meeting minutes are approved unanimously. Item number 1 on today's agenda is opportunity for the public to address the board. I have a sign-up sheet that's been provided. We welcome comment at our Tuesday afternoon meetings. There are some guidelines governing comment to make sure that comments are appropriate and do not take advantage of the fact that we are televised. Please introduce yourself when called, including the area of the county in which you reside. Address the board, not audience or staff. Please silence your cell phones. The board will not respond directly to comments, but the county manager may follow up on an as-needed basis with specific items at subsequent meetings. Speakers are limited to a total of 4 minutes and may not donate time to any other speaker. The board reserves the right to restrict comments for good cause. No comments that are lewd or offensive, defamatory, hateful, or discriminatory in nature. Please be respectful. No outbursts of any kind. No comments commercial in nature or about pending land use permits or similar matters that might come before the board on appeal. And finally, any materials provided to the county may be considered public records and subject to disclosure pursuant to the Public Records Act, Chapter 4256 of the RCW. We will begin with the folks in the boardroom and then we give a little bit of time for the microphone to be sanitized between speakers, and then we'll go to Zoom and conference call if there's any speakers there. The first person signed up is John Pettit. Second is Shelly Dilworth on deck. Thank you. Go ahead, Mr. Pettit.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is John Pettit. I live out on the end of Rich Road in East Olympia. Today, obviously I always have a lot of topics, but I'm going to bring up a couple different things here. One is I took note later on that you are going to be setting a public hearing regarding making changes with the regular, special, and other meetings of the Board of County Commissioners, and I am happy to see that. I'll even be even more happy when I actually get to see the proposed ordinance, which I've been told will probably be available right after you, if you should approve the public hearing to occur. So then I'll be able to actually see, and I'll probably have comments regarding it. One of the comments, though, that I will add to this particular topic is, and I don't know if there was any provision for it, but it has to do with agendas. And one of the examples I would use is you have an agenda for tomorrow regarding special needs, decision required. Well, if this is an agenda, I don't know what I'm supposed to think about that. As a member of the public, what am I supposed to know that's even being considered or what decisions being questioned? This isn't really an agenda, it's just a sheet of paper that says agenda on it with a topic underneath it with nothing further. Agendas need to be very specific and they need to provide additional information, or there should actually be some documents attached that we can consider when we're looking at it. So that being said, I'll put that one to the side, looking forward to moving forward on that issue. Another ongoing issue, land use fees. Well, I did write a letter recently regarding the question about policies. For this today, the only part I'm going to address here is about trying to get that information. Now, one of the things I would note is that Thurston County has a personnel policy. I can go online. I can look at it and read through it and find all the different parts to it. I think any policy that the county has for any department should be accessible online for the public to look at. I shouldn't have to make a public records request for being able to look at what policies the county may actually have. So hopefully there can be an adjustment on that. Another very brief topic I'm going to bring up to you is there is some discussion about a future electronic signature authorization. I highly disagree with authorized electronic signature authorization. As a person that fills out legal documents at times, I like to proofread. I think you need to proofread. And I happen to know that in not too long ago past, in fact, there's been documents since Ms. Mejia's come on board that have actually had her signature imposed on a document without her signing it, along with Mr. Edwards and Mr. Menzer. So these are resolutions and ordinances. They require an actual signature. And one of the big reasons why is because it gives you an opportunity to double check and see if there's any errors on the document, at least errors as you see it. So that being said, those were my three primary objects, and I look forward to having some good things happen, including with the land use regulation. As soon as I get a chance, I'm going to help you to take a direction on that. Thank you.
Okay, next would be Shelly Dilworth, followed by, and I will botch this name because I can't read it, Frank Utic. The best I can, would be on deck. Ms. Dilworth.
Thank you, Mr. Menzer. This is Shelly Dilworth. I live off of Delphi Road. Bought the old fire station, and now we are converting it into our home and home business. First thing I want to do this afternoon, excuse me, a little bit winded here, is I'm going to, if I may, give you a copy of documents that I received from a records request. These are documents that show the use code for my property, the property that I'm talking about off of Delphi. The use code was changed, not immediately when we purchased the property, not, within 30 days, within 60 days, even 90 days would have been okay. The use code on my property changed a year, more than a year after we purchased it. Why? How is that okay? How is it okay to any citizen for that to happen? And then you have the added element. This is not only my home, this is my business address. We bought this property for business. We specifically told the processing, the permits issuing department, we've told them numerous times. I've been before the commissioners numerous times. Even during this time that this was going on, I was in here. I talked about this. I talked about all of this, and still they changed it over a year after we left. That's not okay. Now we're in a battle fighting to keep our property, fighting to keep our business at our property. And let me add one more thing. We've also lost 5 years of income for our business from that property. 5 years. During COVID, during all of the other outside of our control things that have been going on, we have still been prevented from advertising and sending out advertisement as that being our business address. That's not okay. 5 years later. Who's responsible for that income? Who's responsible for our loss of income? Had we not been proactive and been in this office as many times as we were, had we not been proactive from the very beginning in clarifying, fixing, and being in compliance with every department here, then yeah, you might have a little bit of a step to stand on to say that fell on us. But that's not the case. And all the commissioners, the county manager, and the permit assistance office knows I was in here from day one, questioning this, asking, trying to get to the bottom of it. And I'm going to say it again, 5 years later, we're still battling it. And not once has anybody from this office or any other office reached out and apologized, asked what we needed, asked what we didn't understand, and asked if they could help us. Not once. It's been a fight. It's been an all-out, drag-out battle to get any type of cooperation from this office. So again, whose responsibility is that? Whose responsibility is it for ensuring that this situation isn't happening to every other citizen in this county? Well, guess what? I've made it mine. And so I'm going to continue to be here. I'm going to continue to fight this battle. And today I have prepared the claims damages forms for this office, for the commissioners, that I want you to really sit down and look at the documents. Because there is documents in every page of that to support every ounce of what I'm claiming. And then look at what we're asking to happen and who's responsible for those damages. I thank you for your time. Is it okay that I give you these?
Yes,
Okay.
you are here. Thank you, Ms. Millwalter. Thank you, appreciate it.
There's a couple copies for you.
Okay, thank you.
Touch that and not want to.
Thank you, commissioners, for your time today and also your service.
So, can you move the microphone, sir, a little bit
Okay.
higher?
I got my shot today, just so everybody knows. Single shot. My name's Frank Utic. I live at Lawrence Lake. Purpose of me being here today is to talk about the RFP for contract for herbicide treatment at Lawrence Lake. I live on the lake. I serve as a volunteer on our steering committee, which is a group of citizens in the Lake Management District, which correspond and coordinate activities on the lake with Thurston County staff. I see Paul and Tim Wilson are also online today, so that's a good thing. This RFP has been an under duress situation unnecessarily. We provided comments for the RFP before it goes out, and I'd just like to hit on two
very high-level issues that we hope get into the RFP before it's released. And again, this is for herbicide treatment for the underwater aquatic plants and surface aquatic plants out at Lawrence Lake. Okay, just to give you an idea, the previous contract, which expires the end of this month, was for 5 years. The RFP in that contract went out on the 5th of December, okay, in the year prior to it being issued. This contract, we received the draft RFP on the 24th of February. So it was delayed 10 weeks from us looking at it. So we were under a lot of duress to get our comments in. Our comments, we thought were very succinct. And here's the two top level ones that we're asking go into the RFP before it gets issued. The first one is the current RFP, unless it's changed in the last few days, is for a 1-year contract versus a 5-year contract. The existing contract that we have right now is for 5 years. It makes good sense. Okay, first of all, 5 years aligns with the Department of Ecology permits that we currently have issued. Okay, so we can take advantage of that. Doing this each year costs money. Costs the county money, it costs the contractor money. Okay, and the third one is it's incentivized. If we do a 1-year contract with 4 1-year options, that's incentive for the contractor to perform. If they don't perform, they don't see the options. Okay, it's that simple. So that's the biggest single issue. Second big issue is in the RFP, there is a cost matrix that allows apples to apples comparison of any of the contractors that choose to bid on this contract. We find the cost matrix to be lacking. It doesn't have enough detail in there. The way herbicides work in the lake is it's a volume issue. It is not a surface issue or a square footage issue. So the thing that's missing in the RFP is depth information. So we provided a cost matrix to add depth to each of their proposals so that contractor A and contractor B have the same information or are bidding on the same information. Likely there's some assumptions there on their part, but at least it's an apples to apples comparison. The previous contract, the one that's in place right now, we had some issues with the contractors. The costs were overrun, and some of the applications of it's called Floridone, it's a treatment for submerged weeds, they were inadequate, didn't work. And we suspect, don't know, we suspect that they did not put the right density in the application, parts per million, if you will, in the application. That's why the sonar was ineffective. So we're spending money and we're wasting money by not making it, not learning our lessons and putting that information into the next RFP. I wrote a letter, sent it to you guys yesterday, and there's 6 signatories on that letter, and hopefully you have it. I can submit it, a copy if you wish.
The board reviewed your letter this morning.
Okay, great.
They do have it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, commissioners.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Utic. You're the last person signed up on my sheet. Has anybody else in the boardroom entered and wish to provide public comment?
Yeah, we have another member of the public, right?
Okay.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. My name is Gregory Moe. I live in Northeast Thurston County. Here to express a little frustration. I'm trying to help my wife's son pick up a piece of land in southwest Thurston County, and he'd like to build a home and a shop on it. It's zoned residential. It's a little over 2 acres. So I met him up here today at the Permit Resistance Center, and we got a little, your receptionist is always a great person, Lynn, she's wonderful. But it became quite frustrating because we were not able to get the information that from the person we were speaking with. And granted, some people don't, you don't have all the questions to ask. You can't think of, you're not clairvoyant. But there wasn't a lot of volunteered information. It was like it was like pulling teeth to get information, and it was just a frustrating experience. I hope to come next time I meet him at the permit center to have more specific questions to ask so that we can get good information. from staff. So, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Moe. Is that it,
You'd like
Mr.
to
County
testify?
Manager?
No. So nobody else in the room, sir?
I'll let you track the Zoom and conference
Yeah,
call for me.
I don't see anybody in the Zoom. So let me move to the conference. Oh, I'm sorry. I do have a Mr. Matthew Maurer. Would like to provide public testimony this afternoon. Can you please unmute yourself? One more time, Mr. Maurer. Oh, he just put in the chat he's not interested in providing testimony. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Good afternoon. For those members of the public who have joined us via conference call this afternoon, if you'd like to provide public testimony before the Board of County Commissioners this afternoon, please unmute yourself, state your name, where you reside in the county. You have 4 minutes. None, sir.
Okay. We'll go to item number 2 on today's agenda, County Manager's update.
Yeah, just a follow-up. I'll look into the details of what Ms. Dilworth provided this afternoon. And I know because I have been part of a series of emails that have been going with you, Ms. Dilworth, and with staff. And the last email that I got is staff offer you to meet with you and go through the details of your issue. So hopefully you can take up on that offer.
I will not be taking.
Okay, so thank you. Another item that I'd like to highlight is my experience when I visited the mass vaccination site. The Department of Public Health and Social Services from the county hosted in the last 4 days. That was Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday at the South Puget Sound Community College. And I was aware of the planning behind the mass vaccination site. And it was not until I was able to be on site to realize the amount of the logistical power that requires to stand a mass vaccination site. Just to give you an example, we need close to 90 volunteers a day to cover both 2 shifts on a daily basis. I'd like to extend my appreciation to United Way. United Way is the one who helped us to coordinate our volunteers, as well as the Medical Reserve Corps, who help us with the medical staff to help us vaccinate the citizens. What is incredible for me in the last 4 days, we issue 3,300 doses to citizens of Thurston County for those who qualified under the different phases of the governor, as stated. So, and again, I'd like to extend my appreciation to all volunteers, county staff, and everyone who is making this a success. As the different phases continue to open for additional citizens to access the vaccines, I think this is going to continue to be a great success, and will continue to provide the best possible services to vaccinate our Thurston County residents for those who want it. Thank you.
Questions for the County Manager from the board?
No questions, but I will comment on, I registered to be a volunteer with United Way for the mass vaccination clinics. And every time I get an announcement, by the time I go and check, the slots are already full. So that speaks to our community and how wonderful our people are, just making sure that all the slots are filled. And I mean, it fills me with admiration every time I go over there. And all the slots, it's 68 volunteers each time that they're requesting, and they're filled within minutes.
Very good.
Okay, thank you. We'll move to item 3, the consent agenda. There are items A through D. Unless there's a request to pull something for separate consideration, I would entertain a motion.
Nothing specific, sir. I would move to approve consent items A, B, C, and D.
I second.
Motion to approve consent items 3A through D has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Those items are approved. That brings us to item 4 under department items. First item is 4A, set a public hearing for ordinance to amend chapter 2.02.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. For your consideration is to set a public hearing for Tuesday, April 13, 2021, 3 in the afternoon in this room, for you to provide public testimony, receive public testimony related to a proposed ordinance amending chapter 2.02 of the Thurston County Code. As a matter of background, RCW, that will be the revised code of Washington, 36.32.080, parentheses 1, requires the Board of County Commissioners to hold regular meetings at the county seat to transact any business required or permitted by law. RCW 36.32.080, parentheses 3, authorizes the board as an alternative option to hold regular quarterly meetings outside of the county seat, but within the county, if the board determines by motion that holding a meeting is an alternate location will be in the interest of supporting greater citizen engagement in local government. RCW 36.32.090 authorizes the board to hold the special meetings as provided by in RCW 42.30.080 at the county seat. In addition, the board is authorized to hold the special meetings outside the county seat if agenda item or items are of unique interest of concerned citizens within that portion of the county. RCW 42.30.070 requires the board to provide the time of holding regular meetings by ordinance, resolution, bylaws, and by whatever other rule is required to conduct the business of the county. The board has adopted the time for holding the public hearings in the Thurston County Code 2.02. Also, the board has evaluated how it can continue to be more effective and meet the needs of the public in conducting its business as a board and also as individual commissioners to strive to be more responsive to their constituents. As a result, this proposed resolution makes changes again to Thurston County Code 2.02 that includes information related to the official meeting room, regular meetings, special meetings, minutes, executive sessions, adjournments, and continuances, as well as attendance of meetings by telephone or video conferencing, and also makes a reference to public record index. That's what I have for you. Have any questions?
Questions from the board on this item?
Yes, I have a question.
Go ahead, Commissioner Edwards.
Would this new ordinance be online and available for the public for review?
Yes, as soon as the board approves, we'll make sure we post it online.
Okay. That's it, sir, for me.
Okay.
And we're also available to provide paper copies.
Pardon?
We're also available to provide paper copies.
Oh, okay. Is
If
that
they need.
provided today?
If upon request, we'll do so.
Okay, okay. Thank you.
Commissioner Mejia, anything?
No, sir.
I would entertain a motion regarding the proposed public hearing.
I would move to set a public hearing for Tuesday, April 13th, 2021 at 3 p.m. or as soon thereafter as at the Thurston County Courthouse, Building 1, Room 280, to accept public comment on a proposed ordinance related to the regular, special, and other meetings of the Board of County Commissioners.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries, and the public hearing has been set for April 13th. Item 5 is Public Works, request for proposal for rate design and financial advisory services for water and sewer utilities.
Thank you, Commissioners. This particular item is related to a proposal to consolidate all the water and sewer utilities that we have in the county into a single utility. Staff from Public Works is going to walk you through the details of this particular proposal.
Good afternoon.
Okay.
Yep. Look at me. Good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Zaina Jadi, Water Resources Technical Services Manager. We're here today seeking board authorization to issue a request for proposal for financial services for the county's water and sewer utilities. Thurston County currently owns and manages 4 separate utilities, 3 of which provide water and sewer, and 1 of which provides sewer only. These utilities represent 4 separate communities: Grand Mound, Tamashan, Boston Harbor, and Olympic View. 3 of these systems were taken over by Thurston County at the request of the community or because of financial difficulties. 1 utility, Grand Mound Water and Sewer, was developed and constructed by the county to serve an urban growth area. Thurston County is responsible for operation and maintenance of its water and sewer utilities in perpetuity to provide critical life-supporting services to all its customers while meeting all regulatory requirements. Key to fulfilling this obligation is ensuring the utilities have a sufficient revenue stream to support day-to-day operations of the county's utilities, as well as long-term capital needs. These long-term capital needs may include replacement of aging infrastructure or expansion of existing facilities to support growth and economic development. Previously, the Thurston County Board of County Commissioners requested the Public Works Department investigate the feasibility of consolidating the county's water and sewer systems to create operational efficiencies and stability in rates and improve long-range infrastructure planning for the communities. Feasibility of the consolidation was studied and resulted in the 2020 Thurston County Utility Consolidation Feasibility Study, which identified steps to take towards successful consolidation of utilities. The next step identified, a cost of service study, will determine true operational costs of the separate utilities. Thurston County Public Works Water Resources Division is seeking Board of County Commissioner authorization to issue this RFP for rate design and financial advisory services for the county's water and sewer utilities. This equitable cost allocation study of both water and sewer rate structures for the county's utilities would assess and evaluate the water and sewer utilities' existing rate setting principles, including financial planning and revenue requirement analysis, cost of service analysis, rate design analysis, and organizational structure, including possible consolidation. The completed study would be brought before the board in 2020, with the resulting rates being considered as part of the biennium budget process, which will include a public input period. The proposed RFP is in alignment with the county's strategic plan initiatives number 8 to support robust and well-maintained infrastructure systems for a thriving community, and initiative number 14 to strengthen sound financial management practices.
Questions for Zaina from the board?
No, sir.
I guess the only thing I would comment on this particular issue is we've had numerous discussions on this particular topic well over a year now. And so between work sessions, discussions, and issues in front of the board, it's been adequately addressed, I believe. Although some of the communities still have concerns, I would encourage them to follow through all of our past work sessions and see what we're doing here. But the long-range intent is to help all of them out.
Yeah, thank you. I would echo Commissioner Edwards' comments there. And I don't have any other questions myself, and so I would entertain a motion on this item.
I would move to authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for the rate, design, and financial advisory services for the county's water and sewer districts.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. And that item is approved. Thank you, Zaina. Next, we have 5B and C, which will be separate action items, but we can probably discuss them as one because they're connected. So let's have an overview of what 5B and C are related to.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioners. The 5B is for you to consider authorizing Public Works to issue a request for proposals to secure the services to provide vegetation management and control on Long and Lawrence Lakes as part of the lake management districts. In item 5C is specifically related to a Long Lake to request, again, request for proposals for services to reduce the harmful algae bloom intensity in that particular lake. I believe Tim or Paula are going to walk you through in more detail related to those two items.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Tim Wilson, Water Resource Manager with Public Works. I'm here to talk specifically about item B, and then Paula will update you on item C. I'm here today requesting the Board of County Commissioners authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for services associated with submerged vegetation control in Long and Lawrence Lakes. The Public Works Department, through the Noxious Weeds and Lakes Management Program, manages the Long and Lawrence Lake Management Districts. The LMDs work to solve water quality issues and improve the lakes for public health, aesthetic, and recreational opportunities for all ratepayers who reside within the LMD boundaries and for individuals who enjoy Long and Lawrence Lakes year-round from public access areas. Long and Lawrence Lakes are eutrophic. Eutrophic lakes are generally shallow and experience greater aquatic weed growth during the summer season, which can reach injury levels that impair water quality. Excess vegetation increases water temperature and reduces flow throughout the system, causing distress to aquatic organisms. Frequently, the excess aquatic vegetation growth during the summer months in Long and Lawrence Lakes prevent recreational opportunities and can pose a risk to swimmers using the lakes. Water quality impairments associated with excess vegetation can also increase the frequency and intensity of algal blooms, which can lead to lake closures. Aquatic vegetation management in Long and Lawrence Lakes is part of the best management practices for lake management to promote a sound ecosystem. Long and Lawrence Lake have actively managed aquatic vegetation with Thurston County since the inception of the LMDs, and all applications follow the county's integrated pest management policies and Washington State Department of Ecology aquatic plant and algae management permit requirements. The Noxious Weed and Lakes program is requesting the Board of County Commissioners approve issuance of a request for proposal for submerged aquatic weed control services as outlined. An evaluation process has been established for review of proposals received. The ranked proposals and financial impacts of any proposed contract will be presented to the Board of County Commissioners for consideration and approval under a separate action. All Long and Lawrence LMD contract expenditures will be funded through revenues from each of their respective funds. This action is in alignment with the county's strategic plan, Initiative 9, to support environmental health and climate stabilization. And with that, I would be happy to take any questions the board may have.
Commissioners. Commissioner Mejia, anything?
Yes, so I'll start just in reviewing the RFP right now, or reviewing it and looking over it again. The permits are here on section 5. It says it's been extended from 2021 to 2026. And so I am wondering why the contract will only be, will be terminated on December 31st, 2021.
Yes, thank you. So the permit that you're referencing is our aquatic plant and algae permit. It is typically a 5-year permit. There is no obligation that our contracts align with that. One of the issues from the county's perspective with the existing contract, which was executed in early 2016, was a lack of accountability to the contractor. And I understand that the steering committee in the county has differences of opinion on that, but we feel that there is more accountability through utilization of a 1-year contract versus a multiple year contract.
Okay. And then from the public comment we heard today, can you explain the cost matrix?
Absolutely. The cost matrix is on page 1 of attachment 1 of the RFP. What we need to determine from this RFP are the costs associated with an application. The two primary costs of a broadcast herbicide application, and that's what this is. If you think about it like a terrestrial application, a farmer applying fertilizer to the field, it's a broadcast application. There's two major components that factor into the cost of those applications. Smaller costs also are there, including posting and consultation fees and all of that. But by far, the two major components of that is the time that the contractor is going to be out there with his equipment and the cost of the herbicide that he is applying. So in having discussions with contractors over time and from experience with doing these applications, we felt that the best way to get this was to separate this out into the actual herbicide application. And that is talked about in surface acres, but that is basically the contractor moving his boat over whatever surface area that we designate for him to control. So there is that portion of it. There is the major factor for that contractor in the speed and the calibration for which they do that application is how much herbicide they're putting out. And that is a function of the volume of the water. So there is information at the bottom of that matrix that informs them that our depth ranges from 4.5 to 9 feet. So they can get a good sense of what volume they'll be dealing with when they're proposing their costs. Maybe the larger portion of the cost of these applications are the herbicide, is the herbicide itself. And so that is at the bottom of the first table. And it basically breaks it out. There's economy of scale. If they're going to be asked to do a smaller application and they have to handle the material, what are the buckets that those herbicide costs can fall into? So that is how we structured the matrix for the contractor, potential contractor, to submit costs. We believe it's flexible in that if after a weed survey by staff and the steering committee in early April determines that the area that we'd like to treat is different, we know that the cost per acre is going to be such. And based upon the volume of the water at the time, we know what the herbicide costs are going to be. So it in our opinion, gave us very good information regarding how to control costs and forecast what our costs are going to be for any body of work that we do on the lake. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you. No more questions.
Commissioner Edwards.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
One of the issues that's been brought forward is that 51% of the money raised by the Lawrence Lake folks goes to administrative overhead. 49% goes to solving the problem. I hope that I can refer back to this COVID-19 issue as one of the main factors involved here, because we seem to have a lack of communication between the county and the Lake Management District folks that have decided to tax themselves to improve water quality for the public's use, not just Lawrence Lake residents' use. So I'm going to ask that even though we may move forward and approve this RFP for this section of time as designed right now, I think we need to have some good, solid communication between the lake management folks and the county to iron out some of this discrepancy, some of these discrepancies that exist. It seems to be too late now, and we just don't have time to fix everything, go out for the RFP, and get the treatment. So I'm going to support this as written, but I would hope that the county will work with the lake residents to improve water quality for all the citizens in Thurston County in the future. So I'm prepared to make a motion when requested, sir.
Okay. I would agree with Commissioner Edwards on that. I probably wouldn't be willing to vote for this today if it wasn't for the timing issue, just because I have certain questions. But with a one-year contract, we can hopefully address those questions before we get to next time. But just a couple things off the top. Commissioner Mejia kind of asked this, but I just want to, the citizen talked about aligning the contract with the ecology permit. And is there some reason that that's a valuable thing to do? I didn't understand what the significance of that was.
Well, the last one was aligned with the APAM permit, but there is no obligation that we do that. I don't know from my.
Is there an advantage? I mean, I understand there's no obligation. You said that, but you didn't say, and the citizen also didn't say, what's the advantage, if any, to doing it?
Sure. Yeah, from my perspective, there is no advantage to aligning that with the APAM permit. In fact, there's more advantage to having the shorter term contracts from my perspective.
And then we talked about the 1 year versus the 5 year, but the citizen was saying, well, what about 1 year with 1 year options? Because it'll cost us less money to go out every year for a new RFP. Is that, we didn't really address that this morning, that option of having a 1 year contract with renewable options. Is that not desirable for some reason?
Well, it's certainly an option. I don't know that it's desirable, to be honest with you. This was communicated and worked on with our procurement and contract specialists here in Public Works with a set objectives as far as what we would like to achieve from this RFP. And I don't know that that was something we wanted to move forward with those 1 year extensions. Certainly something that we're open to discussing as we go forward and proposing next year if we find that there's benefit in that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'd be curious as to what the Lake Management District's having to pay for each year's worth of RFP. I mean, you know, if it's significant, then that's something we take into account.
Sure.
There might be countervailing reasons, but I just think that that was at least a logical argument that I was curious about. Okay, well, I think we all feel that we need to get this done for the benefit of the Lake District for this year. I'm ready to entertain a motion on this.
I would move to authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for services associated with submerged weeds vegetation control in Long and Lawrence Lakes, 2 county-supported lake management districts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Yes, I have one other comment, sir.
Yeah, and I did too. So go ahead, Commissioner.
I guess this kind of says it, 2 county-supported management districts. I mean, it says that in the motion, but the reality is the citizens are the ones that are taking this on to expend their money. They've taxed themselves, and it seems like their good intentions are being ate up by the bureaucracy of government. So I really think we need to strive to do better. I know this board has talked about it, and we're not done talking about it, about the possibility of doing some assistance process, because these lakes are enjoyed by all of the citizens of Thurston County, not just the lake area residents. So enough said for now. That'll be it for me, sir.
I would like to kind of second what Commissioner Edwards has said before and now. where we need to start working with our lake management district some more. And maybe next year when the RFP comes, we can start working on it earlier. That way they have time to put in their comments and we can work through that. That's all.
Tim, I just wanted to highlight something that you brought up this morning, which didn't come out this afternoon, which was that you had contacted one of the Long Lake board members in terms of if they had similar concerns. And I think you said this morning that they did not share the concerns. They were okay with this going forward. Is that correct?
Yes, I had a conversation with one of the committee members, Eric Casino, yesterday. Paula may have had additional comments. We're not aware of any concerns by Long Lake. And to address some of the comments, we're assembling a briefing as we speak to talk about to provide some information on lake management districts.
Okay, we have a motion. It's been moved and seconded. We've had, I think, further discussion complete, and I'll call for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. That is item 5B. Now we'll move to 5C. Which is connected but not exactly the same.
Yeah,
so I
not
guess
the
we'll
same.
hear from
Paula?
Paula on this one.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Paula Cracknell, Aquatic Resource Specialist with Thurston County Public Works. Today, I would like to present a request for proposals for the Long Lake Management District to manage phosphorus and algae blooms in the lake in 2021. Public Works Noxious Weeds and Lake Management Program manages the Long Lake Management District, and we work with them to solve water quality issues and improve the lake for public health, aesthetic, and recreational opportunities for all ratepayers who reside in the LMD boundary and for citizens who enjoy Long Lake year-round. In 2020, Long Lake experienced the most pronounced and prolonged harmful algal bloom to date. The bloom appeared in May 2020 and had not fully dissipated in February 2021. In some areas of the lake, the algae buildup was so thick that the decaying biomass persisted for months on the surface of the water, creating foul odors and raising concern for lakefront property owners of aerosolized toxins that can be produced during a harmful algae bloom event. Water samples were taken from the lake on 20 separate occasions in 2020 to test for common algal toxins, microcystin and anatoxin A. The samples yielded results for microcystin toxins well above state guidelines for human health. The Washington State Water Quality Guidelines for acceptable microcystin levels is 8 micrograms per liter. In August 2020, microcystin levels reached 496 micrograms per liter, indicating a major public health risk, which forced the lake closure to protect citizens. In response to this long-lasting algal bloom, the Long Lake Management District is requesting Public Works to pursue proposals for a phosphorus mitigation project to manage the algae in 2021 and minimize any potential exposure to toxins or closure of the lake during prime recreational months. The Noxious Weed and Lake Management Program is requesting that the Board of County Commissioners approve the issuance of this request for proposal for services as outlined above. However, the Long Lake Management District does not currently have adequate 2021 budget expenditure authority to cover the anticipated costs of the services. The costs are estimated at $240,000. As part of the Board of County Commissioners' decision-making process in approving the release of the RFP, a budget amendment will be submitted to the Board of County Commissioners for approval in May 2021 to increase the Long Lake Management District budget to cover the cost of these services. The Long Lake Management District has adequate fund balance to cover these expenditures. An evaluation process has been established for review of proposals received. The ranked proposals and financial impacts of any proposed contract will be presented to the Board of County Commissioners for consideration and approval under a separate action. This action is in alignment with the county's Strategic Plan Initiative 9 to support environmental health and climate stabilization. And with that, I'm ready for questions if you have any.
Questions for Paula from the board?
No questions for me.
I have not necessarily questions, but I would follow up with comments that the same type of problem exists with Long Lake as far as the county not helping the Lake Management District enough, in my estimation, to solve water quality issues, because just the Long Lake residents are not the only recipients of this. We want good water quality for all of our citizens to have access to. And I believe the time has come that we need to step up. We're one of the only counties, and maybe the only county, that does not help out its lake management districts to solve the lake water problems. So we've got a lot of work to do at the county level, and I hope staff recognizes that the board feels that we need to do something different. What that is, I don't know yet, but I do think there's a consensus among the board members that we need to come up with a better solution in creating good, safe water for our citizens here in Thurston County. And that being said, I'm ready to make a motion, sir.
Okay, I'm ready.
I would move to authorize Public Works to issue a request for proposal for services associated with phosphorus mitigation to reduce harmful algae bloom intensity in Long Lake, a county-supported lake management district, and I emphasize that.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No, sir.
I'll call for the vote. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Paula.
Thank you.
Item 6 today is Superior Court Amendment to Toxicology Services Contract with Ordinance Healthcare Solutions.
Yeah, Commissioners, Sabrina Craig, from Program Manager from Superior Court, is here to walk you through this item. But this item is for you to consider extending the existing contract for Regional Toxicology Services until April 30th, 2021, which I believe the current contract ends on March 31st, 2021. And the extension will allow Superior Court to go ahead and go through our request for proposals to secure long-term services. Sabrina?
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, Commissioners. I'm Sabrina Craig, Thurston County DUI Drug Court Program Manager. As the county manager just explained, we are simply asking for an extension, or an approval to an amendment that would extend our contract period so that we can complete our RFP process for toxicology services and enter into a contract for 2021 forward. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. We don't foresee that this would increase our budget any more than 10%. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer those.
I think you kind of answered my question, Sabrina, in regards to if it would cost any. I apologize. I didn't wait for Commissioner Menser, Chair Menser, to call on me. I just started talking. But I wanted to ask if it would cost, if the extension would cost us any more.
No, as a matter of fact, because, and I'm actually just looking for the contract amount right now, and I was trying to pull up my cost. I don't believe that we're even going to hit the contract total because our utilization over the last year because of COVID was significantly lower. As you know, I mean, we were closed for toxicology services for a month plus. And so we didn't do any toxicology services during that time. And so we were underspent in that area. So I don't anticipate us going over our budget.
Thank you.
Commissioner Edwards?
No questions, other than I would comment that we've discussed this thoroughly. Watch our work sessions from last week and this week, and I think we've covered it. I know the public wonders when we make these motions and move so fast, but it has been adequately discussed. That's it, sir. I'm ready for a motion.
I'm ready.
Upon a clarification, Commissioner?
Yep.
Sabrina, is this covered by the treatment sales tax?
Our Our toxicology is primarily covered by the Criminal Justice Treatment Account funds.
The CJTA?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. So it's not a general fund?
No, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, is there a motion?
Okay, I would move to approve an amendment to the contract with Regional Toxicology Services, DBA, Coordinate Healthcare Solutions, for toxicology services to extend the contract end date to April 30th, 2021, and authorize the Superior Court Administrator to sign the amendment and any future amendments that do not exceed 10%.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Sabrina.
Very much. Have a good day.
Okay, that covers our business items. Item 7A is for commissioners to report on any community events, board work sessions, or anything in particular they'd like to report. I'll start with Commissioner Mejia.
Today was Latino Legislative Day, so I went to a couple of their sessions. Right now, some of the things that are coming up is the low rate of vaccination in the Latino community. I also went yesterday with County Manager Chavez, where there were doctors and mental health and youth service providers, where they were also talking about the low rate of vaccinations in the Latino community. So I found that interesting, and I'll be reporting more on that this Thursday at the check-in.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Edwards?
I'll just keep it short. Lake management districts were a big piece of my activity for the week, and the virus and inoculation process and treatment of all of those facts. And I think somebody wants me to mention that this weekend I went out and got a Johnson & Johnson shot with the schools. My wife is associated with the schools. The Yelm School District did 430 inoculations with Tim's Pharmacy out in Yelm. And we also brought in Rainier School District and Tenino School District, and the spouses of those individuals as well. So we made quite a dent in the process, and it went quite seamlessly. And I want to thank all those folks that were involved in volunteering their time and expertise. And I've done a lot of research behind this thing, and I feel very comfortable, had no side effects. Out of the 430, we had no side effects as they waited for their review time, I guess, the 15, 20 minutes, whatever it was. So I'll just pass that on, that we're moving along, and I do fall within that age group. I'll just let it go at that, County Manager.
Thank you for the public service announcement.
That'll be it, sir.
Okay, thank you. And I'll keep it short as well. I've worked on preparing for a Salmon Recovery Council retreat that's coming. We're going to be revisiting allocation formulas for dollars by watershed. So make sure that we're represented for the South Sound, and also working on the Climate Mitigation Steering Committee. The first meeting is Monday. And so I'm been doing some pre-meetings there. Also attended a really excellent roundtable put together by the Climate Action Team involving local developers and realtors, working with them to develop a set of policies regarding energy audits and things that can be disclosed to buyers and sellers, so there's better information about the energy efficiency of buildings, residences and commercial. And that was a really excellent discussion, and so good that we're going to follow up with a series of more, because there was just a lot of really good knowledge and opinions at the table. So that was pretty exciting. And with that, I will turn to 7B, which is the county manager reviewing our combined schedule for the upcoming week.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner. Briefly, I'm going to walk you through your combined schedule. where at least 2 commissioners are present. You may have individual appointments on your individual calendars where those will not be part of my report. As soon as you're done with this meeting, you have a series of 3 public hearings. The first one is related to Development Code Docket number 820. That is child care centers. The next public hearing is related to resorts and retreats, also a Development Code Docket, following by another Development Code Docket public hearing related to commercial smoke houses. And following those 3 public hearings at 4 o'clock is scheduled your first of the year Transportation Benefit District meeting. Moving on to Wednesday, March 17th, you have a briefing related to the electronic signature policy. At 10 in the morning, you have a follow-up conversation on the space need study, which that was part of a conversation with the board a couple of weeks ago. At noon, you have your regular monthly elected officials meeting. Thursday, March 18th, you have a budget work session. And Thursday, March 18th at 10:30, I will be presented to you with a proposal related to the American Rescue Plan Act. That is the money the county will be receiving as a result of this act. Friday, March 19th, you have been invited to participate on the study. That's the South Thurston Economic Development Initiative. Moving on to Monday, March 22nd, nothing on your combined agenda. Tuesday, March 23rd, 9 in the morning, you will convene here on your regular agenda setting where you'll be reviewing the agenda for the afternoon, as well as the following week's Board of County Commissioners agenda. Thank you.
Okay, so it is 3:09. We have 3 public hearings lined up for 3. I'm going to adjourn today's board meeting, and we will try to convene at 3:15 in the boardroom to commence the public hearings. So I'll see everybody in about 6 minutes.
Yeah, and there's a different Zoom.
Different Zoom.